Veterans of the Tropic Lightning Division this morning is Lieutenant General Retired Harris W. Hollis, President of the 25th Infantry Division Association. Lieutenant General Hollis commanded the Tropic Lightning in Vietnam from September 1969 until April of 1970. On the reviewing stand is the Veterans Pass Review is General Fred Wyan. 1st Lightning Band, under the command of Warrant Officer Mike Ritter. The drum major is Staff Sergeant Gregory Farmer. The Lancers of 1st Brigade, commanded by Colonel James E. Mitchell. The brigade command sergeant major is George Manowski. Next, the Golden Dragons of 5th Battalion, 14th Infantry, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Robert Hobbs. The command sergeant major is John Brame. Next are the Gimlets of 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Pearson. The command sergeant major is Dwight Anderson. Next is the 3rd Battalion, 22nd Infantry, deeds, not words, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Ankley. The command sergeant major is Ronald Mertland. Brigade is the 25th Infantry Division Light Military Police Battalion, the mighty proud battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Owen Powell. The command sergeant major is Frank Mc... Next to pass and review is the Aviation Brigade, the Wings of Lightning, under the command of Colonel Justin Ballou. The command sergeant major is Johann Sebo. And instruct soldiers on his conduct at the division's Light Infantry Training Center Air Assault Course. Rappelling allows a small group of soldiers to insert clandestinely into an area very quickly. For missions requiring larger forces to insert into difficult terrain, the 65th Engineer Battalion rappels into the area first to clear helicopter landing zones using chainsaws and demolitions. Because of the inhospitable conditions that the light infantry forces are required to operate in, you can easily imagine the important role helicopter rappelling plays in combat operations. Soldiers from the Long-Range Surveillance Detachment of the 125th Military Intelligence Battalion will now demonstrate the helicopter rappel from a UH-1 Delta, or commonly known as the Huey, from our 4th Battalion, 25th Aviation. Then is the Special Patrol Insertion or Extraction System, SPIES, demonstration. The SPIES is an aerial technique designed to rapidly insert or extract a reconnaissance patrol from an area which does not permit a helicopter to land. SPIES has applications for rough terrain as well as waterborne operations. The spies operation involves a rope suspended from a hovering helicopter. Patrol personnel, each wearing a harness, hook up to a D-ring, inserted into the spy's rope. A second safety harness is attached to a second D-ring located above the first. Once the personnel are snapped in, the helicopter lifts vertically until both the rope and personnel are clear of obstruction. Once this is accomplished, the helicopter proceeds in flight to its destination, and while in flight, the rope and personnel are treated as an external load. So it is important that airspeeds and altitudes be monitored. To show you the versatility that Tropic Lightning soldiers must have, the same long-range surveillance detachment soldiers that just propelled into the field will now be extracted by the spy technique. Thank you very much. The next event is the Platoon Air Assault. The air assault operation is the integration and use of firepower, mobility, and Army helicopter assets to achieve tactical surprise and to project combat power on the battlefield at the critical time and place. The air assault is a combined arms operation, which includes the air transportation and employment of combat support, and combat service support assets in their air and ground combat roles. Your attention is invited to the field in front of you for the air assault of a light infantry rifle platoon. Prior to the platoon's arrival, the landing zone will be reconnoitered and secured by the 5th Squadron, 9th Cavalry, with supporting indirect artillery and suppressive attack aviation fires. Flank and rear security during the actual assault phase will be provided by attack helicopter assets from the 1st Battalion, 25th Aviation. As the air assault forces are en route, recon and attack forces overwatch the landing zone from the high positions which are not visible to you.
Light Infantry platoon rapidly boards its UH-60 Blackhawk helicopters, notice its immediate action in providing 360-degree security of the landing zone until the aircraft departs. The platoon leader makes an immediate check of his personnel and their perimeter positions for security. Supporting artillery, Air Force, and attack aviation fires would be shifted to this area around the landing zone. From this perimeter, the platoon is prepared to conduct an assault in any direction with maximum firepower if a proximate threat is identified. In this case, the team leader has identified enemy forces in our vicinity and uses the proper hand and arm signals to alert the rest of the platoon. The platoon leader makes a quick estimate of the situation and decides to assault on line with his entire platoon. He repositions the 3 squads for the assault, and the soldiers immediately begin to lay down suppressive fire upon the enemy. Notice the platoon leader is only concerned with the maneuver of his 3 squads. He orders the use of smoke to provide concealment for the move forward. Using fire and movement, at any one time, at least one squad is stationary, providing a base of fire for the maneuver squad. Within the moving squads, the squad leader maneuvers his 2 fire teams, using the same principle of fire and movement. I'd like to remind everybody that the 25th Infantry Division rarely does these types of attacks during the daytime. We train 99% of time at night. Notice that soldiers within the fire teams also maintain fire and movement principles by using 3 to 5 second rushes to assault violently toward the enemy and present as poor a moving target as possible. The platoon continues to assault forward until it reaches the consolidation line after destroying the enemy forces. The platoon leader consolidates his position and prepares for a counterattack. The platoon sergeant would then reorganize the platoon by accounting for personnel, equipment, and redistributing ammunition. Meanwhile, the platoon leader radios the status of his platoon and the results of the action to the company commander. This concludes the air assault demonstration, and we will now introduce the key personnel that comprise the Light Infantry Rifle Platoon. Before you now is the 3rd Platoon of Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry. This is a typical rifle platoon found in the Light Infantry Division. The platoon consists of a platoon headquarters and 3 identical rifle squads. The platoon headquarters consists of a platoon leader armed with an M16 rifle and a VRC 126 platoon radio. Assisting him in the command, control, and care of the platoon is the platoon sergeant, also armed with an M16 and platoon radio. Assigned to the platoon headquarters are 2 M60 machine gun teams. Each team includes an M60 gunner and an assistant gunner. Each of the infantry rifle squads is led by a squad leader armed with an M16 rifle. The squad leaders are assisted by 2 fire leaders, also armed with an M16. Assigned to each fire team is a grenadier armed with an M203 40-millimeter grenade launcher. An automatic rifleman armed with a recently fielded M249 squad automatic weapon. And rounding out the fire team is a rifleman armed with an M16. The next event is the insertion of 2 M102s, 105-millimeter howitzers. Direct support field artillery provides responsive indirect fire support for maneuver forces like the infantry platoon you just saw. The direct support artillery weapon system for the 25th Infantry Division Light is the M102 towed 105-millimeter howitzer. The M102 howitzer fires a 35-pound projectile up to a range of 11,600 meters, or about 7 miles, using conventional ammunition, and up to 15,700 meters, or about 10 miles, with a rocket-assisted projectile. The howitzer system with ammunition weighs approximately 4,000 pounds, or 2 tons, and has a crew of 6 soldiers. It is an air-transportable system using either the UH-60 Blackhawk or the CH-47 Delta Chinook helicopter. The howitzer can be emplaced and ready to fire within 5 minutes, and is an excellent deep strike weapon against high payoff targets. The demonstration you're about to see is what is called an artillery raid. Soldiers unloading from the aircraft consist of 2 howitzer sections from Alpha Battery, 7th Battalion, 8th Field Artillery. There is a distinct sequence of events that occurs to complete a fire mission. The gunnery sergeant to your right across the field prepares the aiming circle and lays the platoon to orient the howitzers in the same direction of fire. The executive officer rechecks the direction with an M2 compass and safes the howitzer when laying is complete. Meanwhile, the chief of section begins the process of emplacing the howitzer in order to fire the mission. The A-22 cargo bag containing additional ammunition is unfastened from the trails, and the howitzer is oriented in the general direction of fire. The number 1 man of the section lowers the base plate and hammers stakes in the base plate to stabilize the howitzer from the recoil of firing. Meanwhile, the section's gunner works with the gunnery sergeant using deflections to orient the howitzer exactly to the direction of fire. Once this is accomplished, the number 2 man in the section sets up the M1 Alpha 1 Infinity collimator, and the gunner sights on this instrument to be used as an aiming reference during firing. Ammunition is also stored in a trail box of the howitzer, and the number 2 man of the section prepares the projectiles for firing. Once the howitzers are laid in safe, stakes are in place in the base plate, and all necessary preparations are completed. The executive officer of the firing battery initiates the fire mission by issuing what is called fire command. During these commands, the number of rounds to be fired are called out, the type of ammunition, the charge, and the deflection which orients the howitzer to the target direction, and quadrant, which raises or lowers the howitzer tube to achieve the desired range. When the mission is complete, the executive officer commands march order, and the sections prepare the howitzer for movement to join the rest of the firing battery. Normally, with an air assault air raid, we would move it out with a helicopter. In this instance, we're going to use the prime mover on the ground, which is the Humvee.
What it does here, man. Welcome to paradise. Welcome to paradise. Don't bother getting out of the range. Doesn't read it. Well, they yell, they get, but the thing was concentrate on flat when something like that happens.
The next event is the insertion of an M198 155 millimeter howitzer. General Support Artillery provides responsive, heavy artillery fire support throughout the division. The General Support Artillery weapon system for the 25th Infantry Division Light is the M198 towed 155 millimeter howitzer. The M198 howitzer weighs approximately 15,000 pounds or 7.5 tons and has a crew of 10 soldiers. The M198 can fire a 100-pound projectile 30,000 meters or about 19 miles. The M198 has several types of ammunition, including high explosive, smoke, white phosphorus, chemical, nuclear, illumination, laser-guided anti-army munitions, and can emplace a minefield by firing scatterable mine projectiles. The M198 gives the division commander a long-range, all-weather, 24-hour punch. An M198 battalion can deliver over 12 tons of steel and explosives on target within a 3-minute period of time. The artillery raid that you just witnessed with the M102 howitzer can also be performed by the M198. The M198 howitzer is air transportable by the CH-47 Delta Chinook helicopter. The CH-47 Delta helicopter is the newest version of the Chinook helicopter and has an external lift capacity of over 19,000 pounds. Helicopter support for today's 155 millimeter howitzer demonstration is provided by Bravo Company, 214th Aviation Regiment. The Chinook's external load today is from Charlie Battery, 1st Battalion, 8th Fit Artillery, the Automatic 8. 47 Delta and took the M198 howitzer and its crew on the landing zone. The crew will clear the rigging and attach the howitzer to its prime mover, an M925 5-ton cargo truck. Because of safety restrictions, the M198 cannot fire in today's demonstration. The lack of a blank round for the M198 and its large explosive charge makes it unsafe to fire in these close confines. However, as 155 cannoneers like to say, they never fire blanks. Already on the field is an M925 6x6 5-ton truck. This truck is the prime mover for the M198 155 millimeter howitzer. The M925 can transport a load of up to 10,000 pounds cross-country. When fully loaded, the M925 can also tow a load of up to 15,000 pounds cross-country. With a full load inside the bed, the vehicle can reach a maximum speed of 54 miles per hour. The truck can climb a slope of 23 degrees and can ford a riverbed 30 inches deep. The M925 can travel approximately 300 miles with a full load without refueling. The truck's power plant is a 250 horsepower diesel Cummins engine. The transmission is automatic and can be adjusted according to the terrain. The M925 5-ton truck will carry everything for the section to survive on today's battlefield.
Just take it down. I'll get it closer.
When loaded, the bed will contain each section member's rucksack, the artillery rounds with charges and fuses, the section Singar's radio, air mobile equipment, and MREs for the section, as well as the M60 machine gun. The final event in today's demonstration is the aviation static display. Some of the aircraft that supported today's demonstration will return shortly and land on the field before you. These aircraft represent those found in the Light Infantry Division. They include the UH-1 Iroquois, better known as the Huey, the UH-60 Blackhawk, the OH-58 Kiowa, and the AH-1 Cobra attack helicopter. The Aviation Brigade Wings of Lightning consists of a headquarters and headquarters company. 1st Battalion Attack, the 25th Aviation Regiment, the 4th Battalion Assault, the 25th Aviation Regiment, and the 5th Squadron 9th Cavalry Regiment. The OH-58 Kiowa that you now see coming into view has a crew of 1 to 2, can travel at a max airspeed of 120 knots and can stay in the air approximately 2.5 hours. It serves the role of a scout and or observer for the AH-1 Cobra attack helicopter. Now coming into view is the Cobra. It has a crew of 2, can travel at a max airspeed of approximately 120 to 130 knots, and can stay on target for approximately 1.5 hours. The Cobra carries a variety of armament to include stow weapons, 2.75-inch rockets, and 20-millimeter cannons. Next, the UH-1 Huey has a crew of 3, can travel at a max airspeed of 110 to 120 knots, can stay in the air approximately 2 hours, and carries 8 combat soldiers. And finally, the UH-60 Blackhawk has a crew of 3, can travel at approximately 193 knots, can stay in the air 2 hours, and is able to carry 11 combat soldiers in peacetime and 22 in wartime. The aircraft is capable of sling loading 8,000 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our division capabilities demonstration for today. We now invite you to leave the viewing area stands and look at the various displays set up around the field. I'd request that you avoid going out on the field until the rotors on the helicopters have completely stopped. The 25th Infantry Division Light wishes to thank you for attending our activities today. The 25th Infantry Division Association members are reminded At approximately 11:45, you will be asked to board the buses for the museum dedication ceremony. Mahalo. Thank you, sir, for coming.